everyone. Welcome to Chafing Armor podcast. My name is Dare, and I will be your DM for this next set of adventures. We are going to be expanding the mythos of our world, and so I am glad you are coming along. Tonight, we have a special introductory adventure with our other DM, who is this time going to be playing a character, and it's a role reversal time. Michael, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hello, my name is Michael, and some of you may recognize me as the normal Dungeon Master of Chafing Armor, but today I am so excited to get to jump behind playing a player. And tonight I will be playing the role of Elias Heartstrings, Dragonborn Bard.
And so we have a brand new adventure, and we're just going to jump in and see how this goes. I am stepping into big shoes since Michael is such a wonderful dungeon master, so I thank you all for my patience as I take a crack at this. Elias. You stand on the top of a cliff. You are overlooking the city of Jormungand, which is the cliffs at the edge of the world, far, far east of where Beltrain and Mascade are. Far across the world to the Decapolis, the cities of dragons, where you, as a dragonborn, have found work. And next to you is a turtle named Monet, who has offered you a job to escort a shipment of magical remedy for the necromantic plague that many of your companions and loved ones have died from.
All right. Elias adjusts his glove that he wears always on his left hand and uses his left hand to push up his round iron spectacles that sit on the very edge of his snoot so that he can better read sheet music. And he turns towards Monet and says, "Well, when do we begin?"
It is good that you have come. I am glad that such a reliable person can be found to help escort this shipment. As we proposed, here is the 50 platinum payment in advance for you to ride on the airship Fancy Guppy and escort this shipment to the city of Kiriskorpolis, the capital of the Decapolis.
I see. And what's the name of that capital again? I had never been there myself.
Kiriskorpolis, the largest city in this side of the world. The Decapolis, as you know, each of the 10 cities, well, 9, we don't count the ruins anymore, are ruled by the great dragons. If you look below, you see our queen. She is Skilpana, is the gargantuan dragon turtle that rules over Jormungand. You see below, she is the size of a small island, but she has guarded the city of the cliffs for thousands of years. And you will take this remedy to the king of all dragons. That will be your task, for which you will be handsomely paid.
Well, I am very grateful for this opportunity to do such a good service, both to you and your people, and all of the people in the kingdom beyond. I must confess that I am curious that taking this airship, which I'm sure is both sturdy and reliable, on its way, a payment of 50 platinum does cause me to ask, are you expecting any trouble?
At that moment, you hear a voice in your head. The voice of Skilpana, Queen of Dragon Turtles. And she says, "Elias, there will be trouble." We have gotten word that there is a cult that is trying to raise a undead dragon god. We fight against this group. We fight against all who would kill and maim. We fight against all who would corrupt. And you are placing yourself in the harm's way by protecting this shipment and making sure that more people do not succumb to the machinations of this undead cult.
Elias has a kind of floppy barred hat that is just shapeless from years of walking under the stars, and he takes it and he doffs it just a little bit, even though he's not standing directly in front of Skilpata, and says, your ladyship, I will see it done.
And from where you and Monet are standing at the top of the cliffs, near the airfield that has dozens of these airships, many shaped like dragons, you look down the cliffs, far, far down below, thousands of feet, where the city has been carved into the side of the cliffs over thousands of years. You see dragon folk and kobolds, turtles and merfolk, all going about their daily lives. And down in the water, you see the living island of Skilpata, as her great head has turned towards your spot, and her eyes look at you. And you see what amounts to a nod and a blessing. And Monet turns to you and says, "Well, I guess you have been told what your job is. Go to Dock 5, and there you will board the Fancy Guppy, and the captain, Kirix Stevervor, will take you on your journey. You may go and get any supplies that you think you might need. The ship is supposed to leave in 3 hours. Fair travel, and God bless."
Elias makes a little bow to Monet, and he says, it has been an absolute pleasure making your acquaintance, milady, and I look forward to giving you great news of success in a very short time.
You hear the hum of Skilpata's voice in your head as she sends you on your way without words. And Monet, the turtle, turns toward you and says, "Be on your way."
All right. So I have never been in Jormungand, but I'd like to bard it up and start checking and such. What I want to try to find is Elias has made do with just some very light leather armor, but what he would like is like a chain shirt before he heads out on his journey. He wants to try to find an armor shop.
There are various staircases on the broad side of the cliff that go down. About halfway down is the commercial level, where all the merchant stalls are along the cliff face on one level so that everybody knows where it is. And it is easy for you to find. It takes you about 15 minutes to go down the stairs to get that far.
Okay.
There are a number of armorers, clothiers, supply shops, goods, and services that are available. The farther you go to the north, the more expensive it goes. The farther you go to the south, the less expensive it gets, and the less fancy, and probably the less reliable.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's going to head just a little north, kind of the like a Volvo, but maybe not a Mercedes-Benz, It's kind of where he's thinking something reliable and serviceable. But when he's looking around, one of the things that he enjoys is in his travels in this land, so often it's predominantly humans and elves and dwarves, and a lot of these things aren't built for Dragonborn quite as well, and he's enjoying that with the turtles and the kobolds, that clearly there's things here cut more for his size.
Yes, this city is mostly dragon folk, turtles, merfolk, and kobolds. There are a few lizard folk, and a scattering of humans.
Gotcha. Well, I want to try to...
As you're going along, you hear the ringing of an anvil, and you feel the heat coming out of one particular carved-in shop face. And you see a sign above that just says Armorer, and it has the picture of armor and 2 sledgehammers across it.
I will definitely make my way in, kind of whooing out as I make my way into the heat. The fire doesn't bother me quite as much, being a gold dragon lineage, but nevertheless, I still can feel the sweat pricking slightly as I come in, and I want to try to find the proprietor.
Okay. You see 2 kobolds at the counter, folding and stitching leather armor. And you see a very large dragonborn in a heavy leather smock standing next to a forge and an anvil, and he seems to be hammering out a raw piece of metal, beginning to shape it. You can't even tell what it is. On the wall are chainmail, shirts, half plate, designs for what look like full plate and pauldrons. There are shields and swords and all sorts of other type of equipment for adventurers.
Okay. He's getting an idea in his head, and he kind of comes. He looks over at the plate mail and waits for someone to talk to him.
One of the kobolds jumps down from the stool at the counter and comes across to you and says, "Aye, sir. Welcome. Welcome to the armory. What can we do for you today?"
Oh, yes. It's so good to see you. And I'll push up my glasses a little bit. Yes. I am here just on a bit of a whim, thinking of perhaps learning the martial arts, as it were, and the riposte and parry and thrusts and all such forth. And it was just curious. How much is this armor? And I gesture towards the plate, the full plate armor that I'm looking at.
Full plate, fixed to your size. That would be 3,000 gold pieces.
No.
we will customize it to your body. We will make sure that you are immune to all stabs and slashes from all the evil people of this world for such a mighty adventurer as yourself. And you can tell that this kobold has sized you up and decided that you are some type of fop that doesn't know anything about anything, and will be trying to sell you everything and a kitchen sink and charging you for it as well.
Oh, 3,000. That does sound quite reasonable. Quite reasonable. And you think this will fit me and suit me quite well for the price, good sir?
Well, Master Bannock, he will have to fit it to you. He is the forger of armors. He is the one who will make sure that it protects your good soul. You assume that Master Bannock is the one pounding away at the anvil, and the kobold had gestured as much as well. Would you like to speak to Master Bannock about being fitted for this armor?
Yes, it would be quite delightful to do so. Yes, thank you.
And so the kobold goes over, and you hear some yipping noises, and of course you speak Draconic, but he is speaking Kobold, and you see Master Bannock raise an eyebrow and set down the hammer on the forge and put the metal on the edge of the forge to keep warm, and undoes his gloves and comes over to you. What can I do for you? He says that you are interested in full plate mail armor. You do not look like somebody who wears full plate mail armor. Going from leather to full armor, that is quite a change.
And at that, I'm going to turn away from him, and I'm going to very purposefully take off my spectacles, even though I can see slightly less well. And I'm going to straighten up as if I was Clark Kent turning into Superman. And I'm going to slowly turn around. And I'm going to say, there have been reports of certain unsavory activities in this area. I have been sent by Monet by way of Skilpata herself to investigate possibilities, and I want to be clear, good sir, possibilities of overcharging of individuals that are unaware of the true value of things. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Roll me an intimidation check, please.
That is 12 plus 4, so that is a 16.
Okay. He rolls a straight 4, and so he is just completely rocked on his heels. He had no idea this was coming, and does not usually deal with the gold of the transaction, and so his eyes become large like saucers, and he looks down at the kobolds, and the kobolds are both hiding and working very fast, trying not to be seen. And Master Bannock goes, I know nothing of such as this. I provide the finest armor. I handcraft it. I make sure that everybody is fully protected.
The reason I am here today is because I and my superiors genuinely believe that your heart is in the right place and that you do indeed produce fine materials that help these people of this land stay safe and protected. We just want to make sure that there is no fleecing of people. You might want to have a discussion with your employees after I leave. And I kind of tilt my head towards them.
And Master Bannock goes, oh, yes. Yes, sir. There will be great discussion. And you see the kobolds out of the corner of your eye just shrink down as small as they possibly can. And Master Bannock goes, thank you for bringing this to my attention. Is there anything that I can do to prove to you that I serve the Queen with all my heart?
As it happens, I am about to leave on a mission for our Queen, our protector, our great lady of these lakes and islands. I would like to procure from you a simple yet sturdy chain shirt, size to perfection, and to ensure that there is no misunderstanding, you will in addition sell me a simple shield at half price. You understand?
Yes, of course. I have the finest quality of chain shirts. We have one here that gives you enhanced protection. This one is superior and protects you from things that would give you magical damage. And then we have just plain chain shirts over here for the regular gods who tend to come through. And here we have a beautiful kite shield. We have over here a large buckler, which would be your fancy. The enhanced chainmail I will gladly sell to you for 350 gold. The shield at half price would be 40 gold.
That should be more than acceptable. We will do that on accord. I will not haggle with you because I believe you are a man of honor and you would not try to swindle me, would you?
No. Of course not.
Good.
I do not want my name blemished. I do not want my service blemished here in the city. I must serve the queen with all my heart.
Very well. Let us get everything done. I have a airship awaiting me, and I cannot be delayed. So let us get this fitting right now.
Very well. So, 390 gold. Here is the shirt, and he begins holding it up to you, and he breaks out some great big pliers and manages to measure you, and the chain shirt will fit snugly, but with flexibility around your shoulders and torso, and whichever shield you want, a kite shield or a round shield or a buckler.
Yeah, more like a buckler. He definitely is not going to have a heavy shield.
Right. Okay. And so he fits it to you, working very diligently. You can tell this chainmail shirt +1 will give you excellent protection.
Excellent. So I will update my armor from leather to a +1 chainmail. Is that correct?
Yes, +1 chainmail.
All right. Wonderful. Well,
and a shield, and so, and then Master Bannock turns to you and goes, "Have you need of any weapons? I want to make sure that you are well equipped."
He pauses for a moment, and then he pulls out his long sword. And there's a distant look in his eyes as he's remembering his friend, his ridiculous friend, who was enormous and would wield this longsword almost as a dagger. And now he refuses to upgrade, even though he's had opportunities in the past for better weapons. And he goes, This will suffice, but if you could give it a quick oiling, I would appreciate it.
Master Bannock nods his head and bows, takes the blade gently, takes it to the grinder and the whetstone, and gives it a perfect edge, and says, "This is a fine weapon. There are enchanters here in town that could enchant it for you. If you were able to come back at a later date, we could add silver to it to make it a silvered weapon to protect you from various magical creatures. We would be happy to enhance it for one such as you. Please make sure that you let the Queen know that I am at your service."
Tell me your name one more time, sir.
Master Bannock, humble
Bannock.
armorer and blacksmith. Bannick.
Master Bannock, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, and please do not feel too bad when employees are overzealous to make a profit. Often they are simply trying to do their very best for you, and sometimes they lose their way. And just I think a stern talking to will help prevent this in the future. And I am a pleasure to work with you, and I will look forward to revisiting you later about possibly enchanting this weapon.
he nods, he bows. He does not look happy with the kobolds, but he doesn't do anything while you are there within sight.
That is really everything. He's just going to pick up a couple other minor items, like some fresh rations. His supply was actually, kind of dwindling. He had been on semi-hard times. And he's just going to get a few, restock his oil. And he is going to buy some nice, fresh catgut strings for his beloved mandolin. That he always keeps on his back. But other than that, he's ready to go.
All those supplies are easily found and cheaply bought. Probably about 3 gold pieces for everything that you mentioned. The rations are cheap. The strings are probably the most expensive thing, but you find a suitable luthier and instrument shop, and they have plenty, and it's merely 5 silver pieces for a set of strings. You pass lots of shops on the way up. You see enchanters and potion makers, alchemists and artificers, all sorts of shops that you could pass by. You now have probably about an hour left before you need to be up to the air dock.
With the final hour, he is going to go to literally the first inn that he sees. Doesn't matter how nice it is, not nice. He's going to pull out his mandolin, take a moment to string the new strings and kind of rosin them a little bit, give it a little tuning. And he's going to sing his wife's favorite song, which is Constant Sorrow. And he's just going to, he's not even going to really try to perform per se. He's just going to be in the corner just loud enough so that people can hear it if they want to hear it. And he's just going to sing it to himself and think about his old band, the Blue Mountain. And when there's about 15 minutes left, he's going to put up his mandolin and head for the docks.
Okay. And you are well received in there. A few people toss some coppers and silver towards you. All total, probably about 1 gold piece as they walk by and appreciatively clap as you finish. It's a nice establishment. It's not super expensive, but they appreciate that you came in and played some music for them.
As he walks to the docks, there was a ritual that his wife would do, Caliandra, and he takes just a super thin tissue, it's a piece of cloth. It's a Kleenex basically, but he wraps up the copper and silver and gives it to the first beggar that he sees, and then keeps going to the docks.
There's a couple of small children, either kobold children or dragon folk children, playing together. There's not very many homeless people. The city seems quite prosperous, but there are some, it looks like, less well taken care of waifs and urchins that could use a little money. So that is well received.
All right.
And as you get to the top of the cliffs and you look back down at the hustle and bustle, roll me a passive wisdom check.
Okay.
Passive perception.
That is 0 passive. However, he rolls a 19.
Oh, well, 19, you notice there seem to be several cloaked figures. That you don't see anybody else wearing cloaks, but there are several, about 3 cloaked figures that are coming up the stairs behind you from levels below, They're coming up 3 different staircases. And they don't seem to be looking at you, but you feel like they are looking at you.
I am going to make a sleight of hand check. And what I'm going to try to do is slip out my dagger without any of them noticing. So first I'd like to try to make that check to see how well I do.
Okay.
Whoa, wow. What these are the same dice I roll as the Dungeon Master, by the way. This is a 19 with a sleight of hand check of 8, so a 27.
Okay, it is ready. It is in your sleeve. They did not see anything.
Gotcha. Now I'm not so foolish as to just attack someone. But what I want to do is I want to see if I can give them the slip, and I don't have time to like try and what I would normally do is try to follow them back to wherever they were coming from. I don't have time to do that. I got to get on this ship. But what I want to try to do is slip away, hide, and see if I can see any details about them as they pass.
Okay, so as you come up to the top of the cliffs and head toward the airfield, there are a lot. This is like a regular airport. There are about 10 airships of all different sizes. There are 10 different air docks. You see some airships in the air waiting to land. And so there are lots of people. There are lots of comings and goings, goods and services that are being transported up from below. There are stairwells down inside the cliffs that have been carved down inside so that you don't have to go necessarily to the cliffs. And as you go forward, you are trying to make your way through the crowd and get lost. So give me a stealth check, please.
Okay. That is a +3. Ha ha ha! That is 3 19s in a row. That's weird. That's just weird. And this is the same dice where I'm usually rolling like 3, 4, 5 when it comes to the bad guys' initiative.
Well, they were ready for you to be on the other side.
I guess so. So that's 22.
All right. Well, let's see if they see you. No, they do not. That is a 16, an 11, and a 19.
Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm not trying to attack them. I'm not trying to follow them back. I just want to use my extensive knowledge of a bard who has traveled the world and try to pick out any details. Particularly, I'm looking for if there are any symbols, sigils, tattoos, markings, necklaces. I'm looking for things that would mark them as part of a group, is what I'm specifically looking for.
One of them seems to have a necklace that looks like an eye with a slash through it.
I have no idea what that is, but Dungeon Master might. I don't think my character does. Do you want me to try to roll for it or just not know?
Yeah, you can roll for it.
Okay, that's would that be history or
knowledge? History or knowledge religion?
Okay. No, I don't think I have religion, so that's not quite so good. That is a 8 total.
You've never seen that symbol before.
That actually makes a lot of sense. And he's just like, what in the world is that? Okay, so he is unfamiliar with it, but he definitely makes a strong mental note, and in his mind he has a pen and quill, and he's writing that and then putting it in a little chest in the back of his brain for later, and he's making a reminder to himself to sketch it out as soon as he can. But he's going to let them pass, and then he's going to try to sneak his way to the...
Okay, your stealth roll gets you there without them seeing you at all, and you come up to the base of the dock, and there is a very large minotaur standing there with 2 billy clubs at his side and looking like he's looking for somebody.
Okay. I will wave to him in a symbol of greeting, making sure that my other hand is also exposed. I have tucked the dagger into a strap on my wrist now, so it's out of sight. And I wave to him with my gloved left hand, and I say, "Hail and well met, sir. My name is Elias Heartstrings, and I am very pleased to make your acquaintance."
And he turns his great horned, shaggy head and looks at you and goes, "Elias, this way." And he goes up the ramp and expects you to follow.
I follow immediately, and I keep chatting with him, saying, hope that I am not too late. I was trying hard to be here on time. Monet was kind enough to give me instructions to your very fine vessel here. Might I inquire your name, good sir?
I'm Ishmael, first mate. And he leads you up to another dragonborn who is a bronze dragonfolk. And he goes, "Captain Kreerex, this is Elias." And Ishmael turns around and he goes, and you see there are several kobolds on board dressed in sailor's garb, going up and down various ropes and tying things off. And Captain Kreerex, Krerex, turns towards you and goes, "Ah, Elias, welcome. Welcome to the Fancy Gun. We will be on our way." And that's where we're going to end this particular episode. Thank you all for joining us. This is the beginning of a brand new chapter in our adventures in this world. So thank you for joining us. Michael, thank you for coming tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It has been an absolute pleasure. In the past decades, I have only very rarely gotten to play and not be a dungeon master, and this has been just the bee's knees.
I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this. It's a new role for both of us, so here's hoping.
Absolutely.
And tonight, so we wrap up this episode. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Chafing Armor, or on your local podcatcher. You'll find us at Chafing Armor Podcast, where we scratch your itch for role-playing adventures.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you so much, Dare.
Thank you, Michael. Have a good night.
Good night.